You guys know who this is. This is my Hawaiian pothos. You would think that you ain't had no water. I just watered you. This is my Hawaiian. Yes, she has been cut to 1 inch of her life. She is going to call the people on me. But I promise you, she is going to be so much better in the end. But you know what? Isn't that just like life? You know, that little tough love when you feel like, oh gosh, I'm taking that hard hit, but in the end, you're going to be better for it. Yeah. Happy Saturday. Today, I want to talk about how I use my plants as a part of my self-care. So I did a video some time ago about how my plants have saved my life or were there for me when, life was lifing. But today I want to talk about how I use my plants as a part of my wellness practice. Okay, so before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Yvette Boone. I'm a recovering software engineer and a lifelong creative hobbyist. And here on this channel, we create a safe space for Black women to incorporate creative hobbies into their wellness practice. And just like I said, my plants are a huge part of my wellness practice. So let's get into it. Okay, so let me back up just a little bit. In my wellness practice, things that are in my wellness practice on a regular, for me, every day, I need to journal, I need to meditate, and I have a strong gratitude practice. Sometimes I got to do that more than one time in a day. But my plants in particular, those are the things that I want to talk about today. So I have about 3 solid main reasons why, and I'm going to break those down. Reason number 1 that plants are a part of my self-care is they give me a reason to pause, right? When I see things like that, when I see roots, growing like that, that gives me a reason to pause. So I mentioned in my intro that I'm a recovering software engineer. One of the things that I did learn as an engineer is that when, you would come up with problems with the code and the code is not working right, the best thing you can do is walk away, take a break, go do something else, and it'll come to you what you can try or where you should look to find that piece of code that's not working or not doing what you think it should do. And so that is where it dawned on me that plants were my comma. They were my pause in my life. So instead of waiting until life be lifing, I decided to do it on a regular basis. I wanted my plants to be a place where I can come and pause. And so for me, things like this, looking at this newly potted plant, newly propagated plant, and checking for roots. This is my globulosa, by the way. Checking for roots it gives me a pause. It gives me a reason to stop what I'm focusing on, focus on something else. And during that time is when I can get a word. During that time is when I can stop clenching onto whatever that thing is, and I can free myself and give myself some time to breathe. That's when I can take a cleansing breath. That's when I can take a woosah. That's when I can take a pullback and I can say, okay, what's really going on here? Why is this upsetting me? Why is this not working out? Why am I not doing this thing? Whatever the reason is, it gives me a reason to pause and take a break. So reason number 2 that plants have become a part of my wellness practice, a part of my self-care, is that when I do it right, it gives me a win. Sometimes life, you are literally can't get right? And no matter what you do or how much you try or how much you push, it just feels like it's just not going in your direction. But when you find plants, and let me caveat this by saying, find plants that work well with you. You work well with them, they work well with you. Because when you get it right, look at this beauty. When you get it right, it gives you a win. That gives you something to pat yourself on the back about. It gives you a moment to say, you know what? I'm worthy. I'm enough, right? It could just be the fact that I got this right and it's working for me. I love it. This is my Hawaiian. She's going to be so pretty when I finally get her, pull all her people back together. So I just cut her again because I'm propagating her. These are the ones that I cut earlier and put in to propagate with my Hoyas. When I was doing all the Australis, Lisa and the Australis, these are the cuts from the Hawaiian. And so they're potted up in some cups right now, some clear cups, and I just stuck them inside of this hanging basket because I just thought it looked cute. So that's part one, but I have almost just as many propagations that are in water right now waiting to root. So baby, when I put this thing back together, she is going to be beautiful. Yes, beautiful, not beautiful, beautiful. Here is another example of getting it right. So I cut this bad boy. This is a new leaf. This is a new leaf. And this is a new leaf because this is where I cut. You see the cut here? And that new leaf came off, that new leaf, and that new leaf. What? What are we talking about here? Look at that. Look at the red on that. She's so pretty. Look at how red she is. Aww. I love that. Oh, I need light. How are we doing this without light? Isn't that better? Isn't that better? What were we thinking? Oh, she is so pretty. I really love this plant. This is the macrophylla. She is such a good grower. When I finally figured out how to water her, she gives 100%. Oh, I love it. So one of the other reasons that I love plants in my self-care is not just about taking care of the plants, but it's how plants show up in the world. Plants show up in the world as a part of a community. So it reminds me to be a part of the community. Plants have a symbiotic relationship with the environment around it. I know I've mentioned plenty of times that when a plant gets sick, it will call its pest friends in to eat it, right? To eat its body because it is about to die. And it's like, well, I can feed the pest, right? They have a symbiotic relationship with the world around them. There are plants that reach for the sun while other plants are using the shade provided by that plant so that they don't get scorched by the sun. It reminds me that there is community among plants. And I don't know about you, I'll only speak for myself, is that sometimes I need to be reminded of that. Our US American culture, pushes individualism and be the best and be the more and get everything. But that pushes you and isolates you, and it doesn't create or inspire community. Well, when I look at my plants and I see my plants doing things and giving to each other and creating a community around with their surroundings, it reminds me that I can have community in my life. And speaking of community, if you like this kind of content, you would absolutely love our plant community here on YouTube. In order to get into the plant community, hit that subscribe button. And also in the description, there is a link to get on my newsletter. Not only will you get on my newsletter and get all the shenanigans and we'll have a better connection, but you will get a label for a DIY bug spray. I'm telling you, my community here on YouTube is awesome. I mean, hands down awesome, okay? We are learning from our plants to form community. It's a thing. I'm telling you, it's a thing, okay? All right, let's get on to this next point. Okay, admittedly so, this is probably not my best plant in my collection, but this is the one that represents a plant's desire to live. This plant in reality has no reason to still be here or even want to be here. I, in my infinite wisdom, was trying to not overwater, and I was underwatering this plant. This plant has such a huge desire to live that it held on to whatever little piece of water I gave it, and it preserved itself by pushing out smaller leaves so that those roots could then take care of the stem that it had left. And if it were to get more water, it was going to continue to grow it then and only then. Not only that, but the plant trusted the process. And so for me, that is life lessons in just caring for plants. I look at this plant and it reminds me that I just need to trust the process, right? The universe is looking out for me and it is going to be there for me. And all I have to do is follow the process. And so I know it's real deep because it's like it's just plants. But in reality, our plants show us so much about life. I can probably go on forever, but I wanted to make this video or keep this video pretty short today. So let me go over really quickly those 3 things that, in my opinion, are the reason that plants are a huge part of my self-care wellness practice. Number 1, it gives me a reason to pause. There's new growth. I cut this thing a couple weeks ago and there is new growth. Plants give me a reason to pause. It gives me a reason to pull back and remember what's really important. Reason number 2 is that plants are a part of my self-care because when I get it right, it gives me a win, right? Look at her. This is my Houseplants. She is beautiful. She's a cutie patootie. Okay. She making a comeback, y'all. So number 3, this is my Manjula. She's coming back, y'all. She's on her way back. She's doing good. Number 3 is that plants remind me of what's important. Community, a desire to live, and trust in the process. So yeah, plants I think will always be a huge part of my wellness practice. And probably even for more reasons. I definitely have more reasons why I love plants. But to be fair, those 3, they can usually fall within those 3 big categories. But if you have plants and you are into taking care of your plant, or if you want to take your plant parenting to the next level, start embracing that part of planthood and start watching your plants. Plants, they don't care about how much money you have, whether your makeup is beat, whether your waist is snatched. They don't care about none of that stuff. It's sort of like, like dogs. They don't care about that. They love you anyway. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this content today. I know it's a little different from my normal content. Well, normal in the sense is that we're just gushing over plants. But I really just wanted to talk about how important how important the role of plants are and having plants in my life is for me. That it's not just about pretty little green things, but they remind me of how blessed I really am. So if no one else has said it to you today, have a great day. Bye.
Happy Saturday. Today I want to talk about how I use my plants as a part of my self-practice. That's not right. Oh, gracious. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Get a little warm. And I don't have no deodorant on. Oh, Lord. We gotta be careful. You can have a mule in the headlock around this piece.